Good morning, guys and gals. Froggy here, and this is my battery, the correct Costco battery for my 2013 C6 Z06. It's a 90 T5, and the manufacture date actually. Whoops, sorry for that. So fresh. This is April of 21, and today is May 1st of 21, so they just made this battery almost. Anyway, I got the old one out already. I'll talk to you a little bit about getting it out. This is where it's going, and use some bungee cords to get the cables out of the way. Cleaned up the battery box a little bit in case there's any dust or dirt or anything in there. Now, here's a little tool that's been around forever that I like to use when a battery does not have a handle on it, a detachable handle on it, and this particular battery does not come from Costco or from Interstate with a handle on it. But this fits over the terminals, and it's obviously non-conductive, and you can lift it up using those two little ends there. So I used that to get the old one out. I'm going to use it to put the new one in. The other tool that I used this time, here's a couple of old handles that don't work. Just tried them out. This is the hold down and the nuts and some washers I put in there to make the hold down tighten up a little bit more. The battery is a few millimeters difference in height than the original one, than a GM battery. So the specifications for the amp hours, cold cranking amps, and 36-month battery. Up here, this is what I was looking for. Cold cranking amps, and reserve. They're all good. That's good for this car, supposedly. And the other thing I do, when I took it out, went off track. I used this, I lifted up with the handle that I just showed you with one hand, and then I used this to kind of pry a little bit gently against the plastic and pry against this cable to get the battery to go past those two pinch points right there and over here and over here. You can see this plastic here. It gets hung up on this plastic lip here. So there's Froggy's tip for this procedure, is use a little pry bar carefully and get one of those lifting handles. So old one out, new one's going back in. Cleaned it up a little bit. There's a little grit or dust or dirt. You don't want a heavy battery sitting on top of that for miles and miles and miles. It might, I don't think it would wear a hole in the battery, but you never know. So you want to make sure that the battery box is clean. Now I'm going to need two hands to drop it in. One other tip I'm going to give you is these these threaded hold down parts here. They're going to want to fall out of the way to the left or the right. So take some tape and tape them so that they're standing straight up. If they're standing straight up, then when you go to put the handle on there, the hold down handle, they'll be in a better position. And then you can remove the tape later on, probably, or you could leave it there if you wanted to. One more thing is this battery does have a external venting hole so that you can plug that external venting tube in there. Okay, so that's in, and right hand was on the handle here, that little tool. Left hand on the pry bar, and I just gently pried away, get this little out of the way, get this out of the way, get past that piece of plastic there. And then when it gets clear of all those three, it just drops right down in there. So now first I'm going to get the hold down handle on there, and then I will connect it. Son of a gun. I put it in the wrong way. I've got to flip it around that way. That's the positive over there going to that, and that's the negative going to that. So hold on. I'm going to try this. The biggest problem of this whole drop-in pull-out is this positive cable right here and how it adds to the narrow space you have to get it through when it's leaning up against here. So I'm going to try shoving it down in the hole. There's a little recess there. I don't know if you can see it. And see if I can get it past there easier that way. And well, it did make it easier. But then once it's shoved down in the hole, the battery tends to push it further down. So you've got to play with this one right here. The other one gets out of the way pretty easy. The vent gets out of the way pretty easy. This one you have to just kind of move it that way or shove it down in the hole. But then before you drop the battery all the way down, leave a little distance so you can fish this one back out. It's easier than the way I'm describing it, but just in the first place, make sure that the positive's over there. Okay, let's get the hold down clamp on it. By the way, the vent holes on the battery, there's one on each side, which I guess makes sense. And this is a plug that you're supposed to put onto the side that you do not use to close it up. I'm just going to use those little felt anti-battery corrosion devices. They're impregnated with some kind of a chemical that prevents the battery type corrosion, oxidation. Put it down in the comments if you know what that is. Some people put some red grease on there. I'm not going to. It's not in the engine compartment, so it's really pretty much sealed away from the elements that would cause the battery to get that action happening. Okay, moving along. Here's another tip. I was not at all happy with how much empty space there was in this battery box once you got that battery in there. Things loosen up, and I don't like the idea of that battery bouncing around there if this hold down had broken or loosened up, and especially if you do track days, you don't want a loose battery messing up your track day. So anyway, to help out with the hold down, which is plastic by the way, I put the washers in there so I could tighten the nut down and not run out of thread. That's number one. Number two, I took some really stiff styrofoam. I think it's styrofoam or some kind of plastic packing that came with something else that I bought. And I shoved it in there so that it's tight, pretty tight now. And this is just the mailing envelope. You know, those Amazon Prime mailing envelopes, maybe something like that. So now all that is helping locate the battery along with those hold downs. So I'm going to tighten them down, see how we end up. Okay, we'll give it one final little touch. It's not really turning much at all. A little bit, that means it hasn't run out of thread. All right, that's it is not going anywhere, baby. That is tight as I've ever seen one of these rear trunk-mounted Corvette batteries. So let's put the negative on first. I think that's the way I like to do it. Leave the positive clear. Because if you put the positive on first and then you touch this negative to any ground on the car, you're going to get a spark. That's my theory anyway. Agree or disagree in the comments. Okay, there's the negative, and I'm not a big fan of these types of battery clamps because I think it's too easy for them to not be on there tight. What I do is I take a screwdriver and a small hammer, and I tap, 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 tap all the way around there. Tap, tap, tap until I am sure that this part is way, way down on that post. Okay? Okay, so we got positive on. We have power in the car. You can see that light came on. Probably have to reset a couple of things on the radio, but that's not a big deal. Maybe I'll do another video and show you how to reset stuff on the radio. Anyway, that is about it for this battery service. Give me a thumbs up or a like if this helps you out. Subscribe to my channel if you want more from Froggy. Ring the bell if you want notification. Be safe, have fun. Here you can have a look at my dirty car. All right, Froggy out. Bye-bye.